So what if you could pinpoint the exact moment to enter a trade with total confidence? Avoiding all those traps that seem to catch everyone else out. Well, in this explainer, we are opening up the trader's playbook to show you exactly how to do it.
It's the question, right? The one that every single trader, whether you're a rookie or a seasoned pro, asks themselves every single day. When is that perfect moment to pull the trigger? Go in too early, you get stopped out. Wait too long, and you've missed the whole move. Honestly, getting this right is the entire game.
But here's the thing, and this is so important. The market isn't just random chaos. It leaves clues. It leaves little breadcrumbs and signals for those who know how to look. This whole explainer is about teaching you how to read those clues so you can time your entries with way more precision. So let's dive into the biggest challenge of all.
We're going to start with what I think is truly trading's toughest question. How in the world do you tell the difference between a real high-probability opportunity and just, market noise? Getting this wrong is where most trading accounts go to die. Seriously.
So why is this distinction so absolutely critical? Well, because when you can finally see the market's true structure, whether it's a solid trend or just a bunch of noise, everything changes. You can manage your risk properly. You stop jumping at shadows, and you avoid those super frustrating, unnecessary losses. It all comes down to this. You can finally execute your strategy with precision, trading with the market's real momentum instead of constantly fighting against it.
All right, let's get into our first major tool for finding these great entries. We're talking about the valid pullback, which in a trending market is going to be your new best friend. So what exactly is a valid pullback? The simplest way to think about it is the market just taking a quick breath. It's a temporary dip in an uptrend or a little pop in a downtrend that gives you a chance to get in at a much better price before the main trend kicks off again. It's a high probability entry, but only if you know what you're looking for.
In this 5-point checklist, this is how you spot a genuine one. First, you need a clear move that actually establishes the trend. Second, you got to zoom in on those candles. Are they showing weakness, like a pin bar rejecting a level, or just a bunch of tiny, tired-looking candles? That's telling you the pullback is running out of gas. Third, is it happening in a nice defined range? Fourth, look at your volume. A big spike in volume when the price starts moving back into the trend? That shows you the big players are getting involved. And finally, the most crucial step of all, patience. You have to wait for the price to actually start moving back in the original direction. That is your confirmation.
Okay, now for our second tool, which is kind of the flip side of the pullback, spotting a real breakout. This is all about identifying that moment a price move gets that explosive momentum while skillfully avoiding all the traps.
Look, a valid breakout isn't just a tiny little poke above a resistance line. No way. It's a strong, decisive, powerful push that clearly shatters a key level. It's the market literally screaming at you that the old boundary is gone and the price is ready to find a new home.
Now I love this slide because it shows the night and day difference between a real breakout and a fake out. A real breakout, it's got a big, strong, powerful momentum candle. A fake out, it looks weak, indecisive. A real breakout closes confidently outside that level, while a fake out immediately slams right back into the range. And here's the kicker. A real breakout is almost always confirmed by a big increase in volume, showing conviction. A fake out, it usually has low, pathetic volume, which tells you there's no real power behind that move.
Okay, so we've got pullbacks and we've got breakouts. But the real power, the real magic, comes when you combine them. This is the strategy I like to call the 1-2 trading punch.
And the strategy itself is just beautiful in its simplicity. Step 1, zoom out. Use a higher time frame like a 4-hour or daily chart to see the main trend. Are we going up or down? Step 2, be patient. You have to wait for a valid pullback to a key area of support or resistance. And then step 3, and this is the trigger, you enter on the breakout from that pullback. You're waiting for that confirmation candle that proves the pullback is over and the main trend is back in business. And of course, none of this matters without managing your risk. If you're going long, buying, your stop loss goes just below the low point of that pullback. That's your safety net. If you're shorting, it goes just above the high. Simple. And your take profit target? It's not a guess. It's the next logical barrier, the next key resistance level for a long trade, or the next key support for a short.
So, we have the theory, we have the strategy. Now let's bring it all together. Let's see how this builds into a practical, repeatable process you can use on any chart, any day of the week. I want you to think of this as your pre-flight checklist before every single trade. First, start high. Look at a high time frame to get the big picture. Second, mark your key levels. These are the battlegrounds. Third, analyze the market structure. Are buyers in control or are sellers winning? Fourth, now you can zoom in and hunt for our pullback and breakout patterns around those levels you marked. And fifth, and this is the golden rule that will save you more times than you can count, always wait for confirmation before you risk a single dollar.
And to get even more precise, you need to find what we call points of interest, or POIs. These are just zones where the price is very likely to have a reaction. So you look for imbalances, those really sharp one-sided price moves. You mark the key candles that kicked off a new trend. And of course, you're always watching the major swing highs and lows and any areas with huge volume spikes. These are the hot spots where your best setups are going to form.
So when you put all of this together, the checklists, the strategy, the process, what do you actually get? You get a system. You get a repeatable process. You get a real definable edge in the market.
And that really is the key takeaway from all of this. Success in trading isn't about having some magical crystal ball. It's about patiently waiting for patterns that you recognize, patterns that have a statistical edge, and then just flawlessly executing your plan when they appear. You're not a psychic, you're a pattern recognizer.
So there it is. You now have the playbook. You've got the checklist, the strategy, and the whole process to identify these high probability entries. The final question isn't about knowledge anymore. It's about you. Do you have the discipline to actually wait for these setups and follow the rules every single time? Because that, right there, is what separates the pros from everyone else.